Jamie, your friend.
Okay.
Why
How's it going, guys? I'm reacting to confessions. So, yeah. This one is the most twisted interrogation you'll ever see.
did you
A year
choose
ago.
Jamie, your friend?
He was the easiest out of anybody because he would have followed me because we're such good friends.
Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
Damn.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
This is 14-year-old
That's a
Michael
problem.
Hernandez. He's an honor roll student at Southwood Middle School, the well-behaved son of a business owner and an occupational
my
therapist.
ass.
And as of right now, he's the prime suspect in the cold-blooded murder of his close friend and schoolmate, 14-year-old Jaime Goff. Detectives would get the answers they're looking for, but only after enduring one of the most spine-chilling interrogations they would ever conduct. The following footage revealing a 14-year-old killer has never been seen before. February 3rd, 2004 started like any other Tuesday at Southwood Middle School in Miami, Florida. Students gathered outside of the school to meet up with friends, socialize, and wait for the
What a weird, like, what a weird, like, mascot or, like, what's the fucking word? I can't think of, like, the word, but just, like, a centerpiece.
doors to open at 8:50 a.m. No one thought much of it when two particular students weren't at their usual meeting spot by the teacher's parking lot that morning. The doors opened
Meeting
and
spots?
students flooded inside. Before classes started, a student decided to make a pit stop to the boys' bathroom on the second floor of the school. He couldn't have known just how traumatic this decision would turn out to be.
Yeah.
Upon entering, another student whom he didn't recognize calmly walked past him and exited the restroom. He
Wait a minute. What kind of fucking urinals are these, bro? They have, like, no privacy at all.
Entering, another student whom he didn't recognize calmly walked past him and exited the restroom.
Weird trash
He
can
observed
placement.
a single black book bag sitting near the entrance of the bathroom and specks of blood dotting the floor.
Ugh, damn.
He peeked underneath the stalls to check if anyone was inside. There was indeed someone else in the bathroom, but something was terribly wrong. A large pool of blood was forming on the floor inside one of the stalls,
Oh,
and there
damn.
appeared to be a pair of feet hanging down from the toilet.
Oh,
This
man,
look-
that's awful, bro. To be in middle school and to stumble upon something like that. I mean, like, that's ridiculous. Because I feel like middle school is like, it's the point in time where you're finally starting to realize, and get some type of idea of what life is about and what it brings. And I'm not saying that, like, people, that's less than that or more than that cannot be scarred, but I feel like middle school is such a really bad timing for that to go down. Like, high school, like, yeah, like, it's going to affect anybody, but I don't know. I feel like something about middle school and witnessing something as catastrophic as that is just absolutely ridiculous.
Lee exited the bathroom to advise a nearby security guard that there appeared to be someone bleeding
Also, that's kind of crazy. If he had a gun and if he shot it, how did nobody hear that?
inside the boys' bathroom.
Must be like
The
a
guard
silencer,
simply
like put it
brushed
over
him
a pillow
off
or something.
and
I don't
told
know.
him to go to class. He then went and told a friend what he'd seen. Together, the two boys proceeded back into the bathroom.
Go back to the bathroom?
The stench of warm blood had begun to fill the small latrine. The pair tiptoed cautiously toward the stall. They knew they had to look inside. They prepared themselves for the worst, then hesitantly inched the stall door open. The scene before them could only be described as nightmarish. A male student, later identified as 14-year-old Jaime Goff, was covered in blood and unresponsive. He was positioned face down, his chest and torso lying across the toilet seat, while his head and legs hung limply over the sides of it. Blood
awful,
streamed
man.
down his face and into a large pool that was forming on the floor beneath his head. In that pool lay a lone pair of black glasses. One of the boys shouted to the victim twice. When they got no reply, shock turned into panic. The two fled the bathroom in hysterics, startling the security guard in the hallway. This time, alarmed by the students' clear distress, the guard rushed into the boys' bathroom. Upon witnessing the grotesque scene, he immediately radioed the Miami-Dade Police Department. The guard then left the bathroom to retrieve the assistant principal. Upon returning, the guard discovered that, in the few minutes he'd been absent from the bathroom, someone had come in and removed the victim's body from the
what?
toilet. The body was now lying face up on the stall floor, His arms splayed out to the sides. School personnel could now clearly see that one side of his neck was shredded to pieces. The school was immediately put on lockdown. A few hours later, investigators entered the classroom of 8th grade student Michael Hernandez, who'd been identified by one of the 2 witnesses as the boy they'd seen exit the bathroom that morning. Michael's teacher approached detectives first with a few pieces of interesting information. She stated that she let her students into the classroom at 8:55 a.m., and since that time, Michael had requested to go to the bathroom 3 times. The teacher observed that Michael had blood on his shirt, which he attributed to a nosebleed. He made 2 trips to the bathroom before 9 a.m. After the school went into lockdown, Michael requested to go to the bathroom a 3rd time, wherein his teacher summoned a security guard to escort him to an unoccupied restroom and back to class. This was reportedly the last time Michael had left the classroom. Michael was taken to an office on the 1st floor of the school to speak with detectives. When investigators inquired as to how Michael got blood on his shirt, he told them that he'd been hit in the face by a door while horseplaying with the victim earlier that morning. The detective examined Michael's face but found no open wounds that he could have bled from.
Can they not also compare his story to the teacher, said that it was from a nosebleed? I mean, I would understand because he got hit in the face, but like he should have phrased it being like, oh, like I have a nosebleed that resulted because of blah, 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 blah.
Michael quickly changed his story. He claimed he'd
14
gone back
years
to the
old,
second
man.
floor bathroom where he'd parted ways with Jaime earlier. When he entered the restroom, there was already another student inside that Michael wasn't familiar with. The student advised Michael that there was someone inside one of the stalls. That's when Michael got down close to the floor to look underneath. When he bent down, his shirt grazed the floor and got blood on it. However, he did in fact see his friend Jaime inside the stall. After that, he simply left the bathroom and went to class. After collecting Michael's statement, a consensual search of Michael's book bag was conducted. What they found inside told an even more shocking story than the one Michael had just spun. Inside the bag was a red jacket and 2 latex gloves, both with traces of blood on them. The detective asked Michael to accompany him to the station, to which Michael agreed. A little after 1:40 p.m., Michael was transported to the Miami-Dade Homicide Bureau office. Here, he regaled detectives with an entirely different tale. The version you're about to see is more twisted and disturbing than anything detectives had heard so far.
I mean, regardless of everything, I mean, clearly he did it. Like, that's ridiculous. I'm baffled that something as catastrophic can happen at 14 years old, man. Like, that is ridiculous to think about such a case at such a young age and following through, because, I mean, you're ruining the rest of your life, clearly. But, I mean, like, obviously in interrogation and stuff, because, I mean, you know, innocent until proven guilty, but, I mean, that dude's done for.
The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a licensed attorney and former prosecutor, and a licensed clinical psychologist.
Ready? Yeah. Please raise your right hand when I swear you in. All right. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, the whole truth?
Yes, I do.
Though he is a minor at 14 years old, Michael is being questioned alone and without his parents, because in Florida, the law allows minors to be interviewed without parental consent or their presence in the interrogation.
I feel like, I mean, that's tough. I agree, especially in this circumstance, I agree that shouldn't be something dumb, but I think, like, it's a little weird to me. I know that it can get, like, specific, like, case specific, but it's weird to me how that's not, like, a law, like, across everywhere, is that, like, that should be a thing, because, I mean, obviously you can easily be influenced by your parents to say the wrong things or the correct things or whatever, and I feel like minors that are involved, I feel like their interrogations should be admissible, but not like what's the word? Not like the final nail in the coffin. I feel like it should definitely be something that's listened to and something taken into consideration. But again, this is kind of all case specific, because I mean, already we know right out of the gate he did it. He's got gloves in his backpack. and we even heard just a tiny bit about him saying that he did murder him. So I mean, obviously in this case, like, it's done, and everything I just said is kind of irrelevant because that testimony gives them everything they need to know. But I do think that that's a little weird that minors aren't allowed to be interviewed in certain states. And like I said, it can be case specific. I definitely understand that, but I think that it's very important for everybody's story to be heard, and I think especially in circumstances where the minors are not the problem or whatever. I mean, it's everybody's story should be heard, and nobody should be taken any less serious than anybody else.
However, parents can request a lawyer or stop the questioning on behalf of a minor at any time. These laws can vary by state as some...
That's kind of like a dumb thing to add too. Like, parents can request a lawyer or stop the question at any time. Like, I get that, but like when they're not present at that time and they're not with him during this interview right now, this whole thing doesn't matter because nobody's there to say stop. And I mean, technically the kid could be like, hey, like, can I have my mom or my dad or a lawyer? Like, I don't know if that would be treated the same as like a normal person, because like obviously like when you get pulled over and you're like blah 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 and they start asking you questions, you're like, I would like to just speak with my lawyer. Then as law enforcement, they're just supposed to stop and then just go forward with the rest. But I wonder if that same exact thing applies. I wonder if this kid were to say, I would like my parents here, or I would like my lawyer here at this time. It'd be weird for a kid to have a lawyer, but everybody's different.
Some states do require parental consent.
Mike, just do me a favor. When you talk clearly so that Miss Renee can understand you. Okay? For the record, could you please state your name?
Michael Hernandez.
Mike, what's your birthday?
February 2nd, 1990.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So you just turned 14?
Yes, I did.
Very good. And what grade are you in?
I'm in the 8th grade.
Michael is being very cooperative and well-mannered during the preliminary questioning.
Of course.
He articulates well and answers the detective's questions clearly. His posture mimics that of an attentive student. He's sitting up straight, his hands folded in front of him, and his eyes keenly fixed on the detective. His body language conveys respect and a willingness to be compliant. However, we'll soon see that his motives are actually much darker.
I'm not saying that that's irrelevant because, I mean, that's kind of obvious. Anybody that's under the gun is going to be like that because, I mean, you're either going to get a response of like, yes, like, how can I help you, and be upfront, or you can like sit back and be like, this whole thing's dumb, like, I'm innocent, whatever. Like, but I feel like they're making a really big deal out of how his posture is because, like, realistically, it's irrelevant because clearly, just because he's a kid, I mean, he's still under the gun, and even as a kid, you're going to understand that the situation's serious. So it's kind of hard to use that against somebody saying that like they're well mannered and their posture is nice because, I mean, it's a crime.
What school do you go to?
Southwood Middle School.
And are you in any special classes or anything? Any honors classes?
I'm in gifted.
Gifted.
All my classes are gifted except for my electives.
Gifted.
Very good.
Never heard of that.
You can read and write the English language, correct?
Yes, I can.
And what are your grades in school, Mike?
A's and B's.
Michael appears proud to talk about his exceptional performance in school. Being a gifted student seems to be a big part of Michael's identity.
Do you know an individual by the name of Jaime or Jamie Goff?
Yes, I do.
The J in Jaime here is pronounced with an H sound, like it would be pronounced in Spanish. But Michael and the detective pronounce Jaime with the J sound. At the mention of the victim's name, Michael's cool demeanor slips very subtly.
That can mean more than what it entails, but like the way that I interpret what just happened is that I feel like he wanted to correct and be like, it's Jaime, but it's because he said Jamie. So I see that hesitation as just like he wanted to be respectful, but also, and I'm not taking up for this piece of shit. He killed a kid, but he'd kill a kid. It's a crazy case. It's
for the first time
crazy.
He seems to hesitate before answering the question.
But I don't like that specifically because whoever's narrating this is making it seem like, now he's nervous. Which I'm sure he's nervous, but that's the way that I would interpret that, is that he probably wanted to, because he was like, He was like, Jamie, who's Jamie? Oh, Jaime, you know.
Yes, I do.
His hands make a slight movement, as if he's trying to talk with them, but doesn't exactly know how.
And how do you know Jamie?
We've been friends since the 7th grade.
Tired.
And for the record, Jamie is the victim in this case. How old is Jamie?
14.
And you're 14 also.
Yes.
How much older is he than you?
I'd say about 4 months. Let's see. 4 months. Almost 4. It would take a few days.
Okay.
Normally, detectives ask a suspect very open-ended questions like, tell me what you did this day. But here, the detective is using a lot of leading questions, which may be due to Michael's very young age.
Yeah, I mean that's smart. I mean that's an obvious thing. I mean, as a kid, you're not going to notice. I mean, notice red flag answers. Not red flags isn't like they're bad questions, but like as the the one who did it, like those would be obvious things to steer away from. And obviously, as a kid, you lack that experience to understand how the conversation is turning.
To get to school.
8:25 or a little after, between 8 and 8:30.
8:30. I was always at school by like 7:50.
Where did you go to?
I went to the fence on the outside of the parking lot, north of the parking lot.
And why is that?
That's just where me and some other people would just hang out.
And this would be before class?
Yes, before class.
And who are the people that you would hang out with?
Man, that's like, it baffles me, because I'm thinking about them. Excuse me, jeez. I was thinking about, them being in school and, a case like this. I mean, man, like middle school was so frustrating for me thinking about all the big tests coming up and all the science projects and am I going to get into high school and stuff and thinking about my classes and my binders and all my paperwork and all my homework and like, I'm having like a midlife crisis trying to do well in school and this dude just ruined his whole life. Like that is insane to me because like as a kid, like as a kid or even being in high school and still being a kid, you dream of getting out of there and finally being done with school. Then you get into the real world. It's fun for the first or second year. And then by like the third year after you've graduated, then you're kind of like, damn, like this is kind of, this kind of stinks a little bit. And it starts to get you reminiscing on the old days. And this guy isn't going to get to reminisce on nothing. He's going to reminisce inside of a jail cell rotting. It's so sad, man. I'm intrigued to know why he felt the need to do what he did. I mean, there's no valid reason to it in my head, but I'd still like to know why, because I mean that's just as a kid, that is a crazy jump the gun just to murder your friend or best friend or whatever. Like no big fight, no big punch, no knockout, none of it, just like straight up like done. Like
The morning.
Most of the time it'd be with Jamie Goff, Andre Martin, and myself. And sometimes there were some other people, but they didn't hang out with us. They just were there.
Okay. Today, yes. Who did you meet at the fence?
I met Jamie Goff.
And how did Jamie seem this morning?
He seemed like he normal how.
Also, this is like really sad. Like, could you imagine being the parents of the kid that passed away and being able to watch this about somebody doing something so horrific to their son? I mean, that is crazy.
Every morning.
Did you make any suggestions to Jamie that you and him go into the school early this morning?
Yes, I did.
And about what time was that you suggested that both of you go inside?
A little after 8:30, maybe like 8:31 and 35, between those times.
I think, also something, this is clearly super horrible, but it's a, I hate phrasing it this way, but there's not really a better way to it. It's a horrific life lesson to anybody else that attended that or that was a part of that to understand that, anybody can go at any given time. Like, don't take life for granted. Like, a simple thing that you say, a simple, decision you make, or somebody that you upset, like, there's people out there that are capable of such bizarre things, and it is a horrific and awful situation. My heart goes out to everybody that was involved, and the parents and the kid that passed away. But I think the more important thing for the rest of the people not specifically involved is just to understand that like life is short, and as much as you think that you're in the right about something, or as much as you think that oh, he's not going to do nothing or whatever, like we all live with that somewhat fear in the back of our heads that this could be our last day, and I think that that's kind of the more important factor is that you really need to check on your friends and raise that awareness and just pay more attention to the signs. Somebody's complaining more and more about having a bad day or things at home, or complaining more and more about how they get into arguments all the time or about fighting each other. Like it's just I think that is a more important thing, is to know that nothing is guaranteed, and tomorrow is never guaranteed either.
What time does school open and are students allowed inside the school?
8:50.
Did Jamie agree to your suggestion to go in?
Damn, so the school don't even open until 8:50, so that means classes would start at 9 o'clock. That's crazy, bro. Because like sometimes my classes would start like right at 8. Like usually, like in my school that I went to, both in middle school and high school, they both kind of had like the same steps, but you would go there, you would get there anywhere between 7:40, 7:50, around about 8 o'clock. It was like anywhere between 8 o'clock to 8:15 is when they would give you time to eat and do that. But usually by about 8:15, they expect you to be in every school is different. Some schools just start out right with the first class. Mine specifically started out with a I can't remember the wording of what we called the specific like circumstance, but there would be like a small 15-minute session that you would have with an advisor that would advise like 10 to 15 students, and you would just go in there and you would just update them on like school policies or things that are coming up. And then after that, about 8:30 is when everybody would eventually go to class.
Inside.
So starting at 9 is crazy, man, because getting out of school, it would be like a little bit after 3 o'clock. So starting school at 9 o'clock and not really getting out till a little bit past 4, I don't know. I just, as a kid, that would really demoralize me. Getting out of school at 4 or 5 o'clock, and that's just getting out of school at 4. I mean, if you had an hour-long bus drive, I mean, you're getting home a bit past after 5. Like that's basically a 9 to 5 job.
When you made that
Crazy.
We had to make a deal first because he didn't want to get in trouble, because we've gotten in trouble on previous times when we've attempted to go up there.
And why do you get in trouble for attempting to go inside the school?
Okay, so they're on the topic of talking about going inside the school before they're supposed to, because they got there around 8:30 and the school doesn't open until about 8:50. And that's a little weird. I understand being able to get in trouble for it because school's not open, but why? I wonder what the point of getting into the school early, like what the reward is.
Because it's too early and we shouldn't be walking around upstairs.
I see. Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
Damn.
Michael answers this
For
question
real?
as matter-of-factly as he's answered all the other questions so far. There's not a single hint of empathy or remorse to be found.
Damn.
He seems undeterred, even by the fact that he's admitting to first-degree murder and exposing himself to the highest level of...
That is crazy. Yeah. My heart goes out to the families, man. That is just to think about being a part of a family or in somebody's life involved with this kid, and this dude just right out says that I wanted to go inside the school early because I wanted to murder my friend. Like, that is crazy. To be a kid, I'm not fully surprised about how he doesn't have a lot of remorse, because he is a kid, so he probably doesn't understand the length of it fully. I mean, he obviously knows that that's I would hope he would know that that's wrong. I mean, he's an honor roll student,
First, because he didn't want to get in trouble because we've gotten in trouble on previous times when we've attempted
crazy,
to
man.
go up there.
And why
Life
did
can
you get in
change just
trouble
like
for
that.
Attempting to go inside the school.
Because it's too early and we shouldn't be walking around upstairs. And
I'm watching it
I
back. I don't
see.
care. That's crazy.
Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
Michael answers this
Crazy.
question as matter-of-factly as he's answered all
Not
the
a single
other
stutter,
questions
not
so
a single
far.
take back.
There's not a single hint of empathy or remorse to be found. He seems undeterred, even by the fact that he's admitting to first-degree murder and exposing himself to the highest level of criminal penalty there is. Michael likely isn't aware of this, but under Florida state law, 14 and 15-year-olds can be tried as adults for certain
W,
felonies.
deserved.
They can also be subjected to the exact same penalties that an adult can receive,
W.
with the exception of the death penalty. Since Michael has already confessed to the first-degree murder of his friend,
I don't know how I feel about the death penalty. I don't know. That's a conversation for a different time. But as a W, I'm glad that they have that law set in place. I feel like anybody that is downright committing a straight up crime, and I feel like crime is such like a underrated word for this circumstance. I mean, I guess we could just say murder, but I mean, like, anybody that murders, and especially in this circumstance, no empathy, I did it, whatever, he's gone, like, he should. Like, why not get the same penalties as an adult? I mean, he's the one that made that decision. Like, you know, I don't care that he's 14 years old. Like, yeah, he has a lot of life to live and a lot of things to learn, but you don't kill somebody. Like, what the fuck?
all that's left is to see if the court will possibly take pity on him.
No, don't.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Now, what was your plan? How were you going to accomplish this?
I was going to get him into a stall, the last stall, because it's the biggest, so I'd have more room.
Now,
He's already got this planned out. This was a future serial killer if he didn't somehow get caught.
is in a restroom.
This is the restroom,
On which floor?
second floor.
Okay, and it's the male restroom.
Yes, it is.
Where is it near?
Also,
It is near the
again, even though like I don't like the situation, I'm still talking about these fucking urinals. That is crazy, bro. Like, why do we not have privacy? Why do we just stand next to each other's willies?
media center and the gifted U.S. history class.
Okay. And once you brought or got Jamie in there, how are you going to bring him or?
I have ADHD. I gotta play with something because this is too much for my brain.
We usually go to the restroom after we get upstairs, so we don't get caught by security.
Okay.
And so I knew that was gonna work. I got him into the stall by saying, "Look, I have something to show you."
Damn.
So I got him into the stall and I told him to turn around.
Last time I heard that phrase, that was on Fallout New Vegas. And it was some crackhead that leaded me behind a dumpster and tried to kill me. So, a real life situation,
Because I wanted
that's
to be a
even worse.
surprise.
And that's crazy, man. Like just to think to be in that circumstance, especially as a kid. As a kid, you probably you don't really ever really have that thought of possibly dying or something. Like if you live in like a neighborhood or if you have like a bad background or something like that stuff, like I understand, but being in school, like school for everybody is either a place that you don't want to be and you want to go back home, or it's a place that you like being and it's a place that gets you away from home. And so, man, dude, just it's sad. So sad.
Before that, I put on the gloves. He saw me put on the gloves, and I said all
Slow
that.
down, please.
Oh, you're going too fast.
And I said, I like them because they're comfortable.
It's possible that Michael's cadence has increased here due to his excitement to talk about the crime for the first time.
Crazy.
Retelling a story can be a way for someone to relive an experience, and it often brings back feelings associated with the original event. His fast talking could also be due to his eagerness to show how smart he was in preparing for this crime.
That definitely is what it was.
He may be seeking admiration from the detective for how well he planned his attack. Michael's enthusiasm is also evidenced in his full cooperation when being questioned, appearing like he's sitting for a job interview instead of an interrogation. It's odd that he doesn't seem afraid or bothered at all that he's sitting there because he's been caught for the murder of his friend.
Now, you also said that you put on gloves. What kind of gloves were these?
They were latex gloves.
Where did you get them from?
My mother purchased them at Walgreens the previous night.
Huh?
Why did she purchase these? Was that at your request?
It was at my request because I said that I needed them for extra credit for
You
my
little
science class.
bitch.
There's no denying at this point that Jaime's murder was premeditated. More disturbingly, it seems that Michael mapped out every single detail and accounted for almost all possible factors before executing his plan. A thorough
Except for the plan where his dumbass puts the gloves back in his backpack after he's done.
search of Michael's
And also
backpack
smart, man.
yielded a secret compartment that he'd made by cutting a slit in the inner lining and attaching Velcro along the edges of it so that it could be secured shut.
Damn.
He'd used this compartment to store the murder weapon.
Wow.
Meaning Michael had even planned for the possibility of his backpack being searched.
I'm gonna be honest. If I feel like, figure out how to word this. If I am the officer and I'm searching a backpack, all I'm thinking about is this the one who done it? So I'm gonna search that bitch up and down, even if it's got 2 pockets. It'll take me 10 minutes to search that thing. So you think a little Velcro compartment is gonna stop me from finding your little shit?
Now, you and him are already in
kid.
the stall, correct?
Yes.
Did he go into the stall first?
Yes.
Well, obviously, he said, "Look what I got," or "Look what I have to show you."
Did you close the stall door?
Yes, I did.
Obviously.
Now, what transpired?
Why is there no lock on this one? There's no lock on there. Or like, I mean, like there is a lock, but like there's nothing that connects it.
Okay. I was talking to him and I told him, all right, now I have to put my hand over your mouth.
Okay.
And so I did, and I lifted his neck up.
Now, was he facing you or was
Damn.
he away from
He
you?
was away from me.
Did you put your hand over his mouth?
Yes, I did.
And which hand did you use to put over his mouth?
My left hand.
Wow.
Once you did that, what happened next?
I had already got before I put my hand over his mouth. I already put my knife out, so the blade was already out.
Now, where had you kept
Oh my
this
god.
blade?
I had kept it in my jacket pocket.
And what color jacket did you?
Bro, like, I wonder what was going on inside the mind of his friend's head when all this is going down. Like, this is such a deliberated crime by a kid of all things.
Did you have on today?
I had a red jacket.
Now, is this the same clothing that you're wearing?
Yes.
The detective is asking Michael a lot of control questions, meaning questions he already knows the answer to in order to see if Michael is being truthful with him. He's also asking
How does that make any sense? Who is truthful about committing a murder? Like, it's a sealed case at this point. Like, I understand getting a little bit more clarification, but if that is the ground you're going off of, like, okay, like, yeah, he was wearing a red hood. Oh, we're not just going to forget the fact that he said that he murdered him. Like, what the fuck does this word matter now? He admitted to it. Like,
asking him questions to see if they corroborate with the evidence they have already ascertained.
And what did you do next?
I took the knife out and I proceeded to slit his throat.
Now, do you remember in which direction you
oh, man.
slit his throat?
Man, I don't know how experienced this guy is, but shout out to him, man. I don't. I preach about being able to help people a lot and kind of being like a therapist for a lot of people, helping them through situations and issues that they're going through, because I feel like I view the world really differently. But to be able to confront somebody so honestly about them committing such a murder and me just having to sit there and not be bothered by it, and like just instead of being bothered, you're genuinely curious of how he acted out. I mean, I don't know if I could go to that extent to keep my composure like this guy is.
Left to right.
Michael
I mean, then
is
again, like, I know like he's trained and stuff, and I'm just a normal citizen of the United States. But
able to recall the details of the murder extremely well, even noting the direction in which he slit his friend's throat. This is significant because it indicates that Michael didn't dissociate at all during the act. Some offenders black out while committing a particularly heinous crime due to the extreme stress of the situation. Michael, however, was keenly aware of exactly what he was doing from beginning
I still don't understand why he did this in the first
to
place.
end. This idea is especially haunting when you learn exactly what Michael did to his young schoolmate. An autopsy of the victim's body concluded that, in addition to his throat being slit, Jaime had been stabbed in the neck over 40 times. It's
Damn.
gut-wrenching to think that Michael, a 14-year-old child, was in complete control the entire time, savoring every single jab, slice, and cut.
Did Jamie say or do anything? Did he put up a struggle?
Yes, he did. He turned
That's
around.
obvious.
After I did that, he asked me not to kill him. So I told him, okay, I'm not going to if you cooperate.
Okay.
Which was a lie.
Right.
And so I realized that the stall door was open, so I locked it.
Yes.
And then I turned him around again and proceeded to stab him.
And where did you stab him, Mike?
I'm not positively sure, but I'm guessing around the jugular vein right around here. That's
Okay.
what I was aiming for.
Did you stab him anywhere else on his body?
Just basically the back of the neck, all through the neck.
Okay.
And once in the temple, and I think I sliced him here.
And that would be on the left side of his face?
Yes, the left side of the face.
Michael is speaking very matter-of-fact and openly. He's likely excited to show the detective how clever he was. This may have overshadowed any thoughts of self-preservation, as he readily admitted to killing Jaime. He may be either unaware of or unconcerned about the legal consequences
he definitely
for
has
his
no idea.
actions. In addition, his young age may have played a role in his readiness to confess. The prefrontal cortex does not fully develop until around the age of 25. Michael may still be feeling amped up and powerful after the murder, and is acting on that emotion, which may make him want to brag about what he did, rather than consider the fallout for his confession.
Now, after you did that, what happened?
I left. I took my gloves off and I flushed them down the toilet.
Okay.
Okay. I left and I.
Okay, well that don't make. Maybe that does make sense. It does or doesn't make sense because if you flushed him down the toilet, how did they find him in his bag unless if he had more than one pair?
Went to go clean myself off. People were coming in, so I left that bathroom and went to the other one downstairs.
Okay, let me stop you here. After you stabbed him, did Jamie fall to the commode or to the toilet?
No, he did not. He was already positioned where he was found. I put his head under there to stop him from gasping for air.
Okay.
So it would close it up. And
oh, I see. Okay, now. I'm sorry?
So he would stop making noise.
Okay. Now, how did you know he was dead?
I made sure by taking my knife, the point of my knife, and poking him in the face.
All right.
And I checked his eyes also, and they were motionless.
Okay. Now, when he fell, was he on his front, or was he on his side, or on his back? Do you remember?
He was on his front.
Okay.
Faced that a kind of diagonal thing.
Yes.
There was blood coming from his mouth to the right of the toilet. And I guess there might have been blood in the toilet. And there was blood on the walls.
All right. What did you do with the knife and the jacket?
I put the knife was broken because of the stab wounds, and I couldn't close it back. So I closed it as much as I could, and I put it in my jacket pocket.
Okay.
I proceeded to go to the sink, and I wiped some of the blood off the jacket, took the jacket off. No, I did not.
Oh.
When Michael is told to slow down here, he seems to be getting carried away as he's telling a story. Overall, both his affect and tone appear markedly blunted throughout. While his speech speeds up either from anxiety or excitement, there's no major change as he talks about going to get the gloves versus viciously stabbing his friend, or even realizing he's dead.
It was at my request because I said that I needed him for extra credit for my science class. I took the knife out and I proceeded.
Oh, actually, know what I just thought about, man? I don't know what his parent life is like, but being the mom and hearing all this about your son, obviously, of all the obvious factors out the way, knowing that the gloves you had purchased and what he did with those, like, throw up 6 ways from Sunday. Man.
His throat. I did not take the jacket off. at that point. I just wet it to get the blood off.
Okay.
I proceeded to go downstairs to the other bathroom on the first floor. I then wiped myself off with all the stuff off my face and the stuff off my jacket. Then I took the jacket off and put it in my book.
Now, you said that you had flushed some gloves down the toilet.
There were two. I flushed 2 gloves.
2 gloves. How many pair of gloves did you have?
I had 2 pair, 4 gloves in all.
Where did you keep the other pair of gloves?
In the jacket pocket where I kept the knife.
All right. Now, before you gloved up this morning in the bathroom, did you remove any of your jewelry?
I removed my rings because they would have cut through the latex glove.
Okay. Did anything unusual, or did you notice anything unusual when you put your hand in your jacket pocket after the incident?
Yes, one of my rings was missing.
And which ring
Poor
was that?
guy.
It was the ring on my right ring finger.
So, what did you do?
I went back upstairs to find the ring. There was a witness there saying that someone was in that stall.
The way Michael refers to a witness is an indication that he may have strategically and specifically planned the entire murder, considering the possibility of witnesses being present or interfering in some way. He's speaking as if he's a law enforcement official describing or examining this case, rather than the perpetrator describing his own acts.
I went to go look, having known what was there. And I saw my ring and picked it up and then left.
You're probably planning it there.
Had you gone up there actually to check to see if Jamie was okay?
No, I did not.
It was strictly to check on your ring.
My ring, yes.
And why did you want to recover your ring?
Because I value my jewelry.
Okay.
It's very interesting to note how much more Michael's ring meant to him than his dying friend. This detail speaks volumes about exactly how Michael's mind works, namely that he possesses a disturbing disregard for the lives of others.
Do people know that you wear that type of ring?
Yes, many people know I wear this type of jewelry.
Could someone have identified you because of the lost ring?
Yes, they could have identified this ring, definitely.
Okay. When you went back upstairs to go back or into the bathroom to look for your ring,
Yes.
who is the individual that told you someone was in the stall?
I'm not sure of his name.
Had you had
My
planned
best.
to do this to Jamie?
Yes, I did.
How long have you had this plan?
A little under a week.
And is there any specific reason why you planned this?
No, there's not.
Perhaps the most spine-chilling detail
How?
of all, Michael likely killed his friend purely for personal satisfaction. Michael, who had just celebrated his 14th birthday the previous day, had absolutely no reason to commit murder that morning. He simply decided that he wanted to. A situation such as this can reasonably be explained by a bout of severe psychosis. However, he doesn't present as a person who has psychosis based on his behavior during the interrogation. Michael seems to be thinking clearly and logically. There are no indications that he is responding to internal stimuli.
I know this is a crazy case, but what the fuck is that cord? God dang, that thing's seen so many better
such as
days.
voices in his head or unseen figures. There's no evidence of paranoia or delusions. Therefore, there is no evidence of a thought disorder. Michael's heightened intelligence.
Bro, like, what kind of, like, dude, kid's 14, bro. Kid is 14. What does he need all of these for? Why does he need all these knives? Why does he need a razor? Why? Dude. I don't know who the parents are, but you're not making some good decisions.
Intelligence and composure, as well as his blatant lack of remorse, are reminiscent
Ant-Man was stacked. What the fuck?
of someone with antisocial personality disorder. However, an ASPD diagnosis cannot be given.
Bro, it just gets worse and worse. Holy, these are sick, but it's an awful way for me to compliment them because of the case. How do you want me to react to that, man? You give a 14-year-old all of these things. 14. I got my Xbox at 14. Like, come on.
Anyone
Man.
under 18. We cannot conclude that Michael has ASPD or psychopathy, the term often used to describe the most severe type of antisocial personality. Not only because
And
we
a
don't have enough
Bible?
information about Michael's symptoms and history, but also because Michael is only 14 years old and too young to be given such a diagnosis. At most, Michael's behaviors align with a diagnosis of conduct disorder, particularly since he has a history of taunting and physically assaulting peers, which you'll hear more about later. However, if we suspend the fact that he cannot be diagnosed, his matter-of-fact demeanor could be due to the presence of psychopathy, as he has a lack of reciprocal emotion. A psychopath can be asked about a person they murdered and show no emotional response or reaction when they are shown pictures of the person or when they are told that the person likely suffered. In other words, they don't respond with an emotion that matches the circumstance.
Why did you choose Jamie, your friend?
He was the easiest out of anybody
Wow.
because he would have followed me because we're such good friends.
That's
And I knew he would have
sad.
followed me in there and done what I would have said.
Okay. Now, I asked you about an individual named Andre Martin.
Yes.
Do you know Andre?
Yes, I do.
How old is Andre?
He is 13.
And what grade is Andre in?
He's in 8th grade.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes, he is.
Is he in any of your classes?
No, he's not.
How long have you known Andre?
I have known him since about the 4th or 5th grade.
And I know you told me earlier that usually you and Andre and Jamie hang out.
Yes,
At
at the north part of the parking lot.
At
I
the
mean, dude, that probably fucked him up. Thinking about not only one of your good friends is gone, but the other one is the one that did it.
That's correct. Calling your attention to yesterday, Monday, your birthday.
My birthday.
Did there come a time when you approached Andre with the same type of ruse?
Yeah, yes, there was. Me, Andre, Jamie, and myself were in the bathroom.
Which bathroom?
We were in the other bathroom than where the victim was found today.
Referring to Jaime as the victim may be evidence of how detached Michael feels from someone who was supposedly his friend. He may be unable to or have difficulties with forming real emotional attachments to other people. This phrasing could be another indication of psychopathy, as it shows Michael has a lack of prosocial emotions. Empathy and emotional attachment are considered prosocial emotions, which are things psychopaths struggle with feeling. This is why they often present as emotionally detached, distant, and indifferent, because they're apathetic to society and to people and situations in general. The fact that psychopaths are emotionally detached helps them to stay calm in situations that would cause the average person to feel afraid or nervous, such as in an interrogation or the act of committing murder.
What were your intentions yesterday?
My intentions yesterday were to kill Andre.
Bro, dude. Oh man, if I'm Andre, I'm fucked up. If I'm Andre, I'm fucked up, dude. That's crazy. And they were longer friends too. Like, because if I'm Andre, all I'm thinking about is it was going to be me. Why wasn't it me? Or if Michael, this kid could have planned like a 2-for-1. And being Andre's family, hearing about how this guy was going to kill your son after another boy is already like, dude. Oh, that's so fucked. Oh, damn.
The same way that I killed Jamie today, except for the fact that I was going to stab him in the back and stab here, and that would have been it.
Who was this you were going to do it to?
I was going to do this to Andre.
Michael seems almost enthusiastic about the opportunity to disclose every meticulously planned
he was going to be a
detail
serial
of how
killer.
he was going to kill both of his friends. The animated way in which he illustrates his master plan to the detective indicates that he's relishing the opportunity to divulge his wicked scheme and even enjoying the attention he's receiving, Whatever his
That's
motivation,
crazy.
Michael seems extremely invested in this experience of being involved in a real criminal proceeding.
Yeah, no, he was 100% going to be a serial killer. He was definitely a serial killer in the making, for sure. I mean, he was planning not only to murder one of his friends, but back to back on the same day.
These are several more
Crazy.
signs of possible antisocial personality disorder. From a legal perspective, his intention to cruelly execute multiple people could be used as evidence that Michael is essentially a serial killer in
Finally.
the making. The prosecution could argue that a life sentence is necessary in order to protect potential victims
duh.
of a future serial killer.
Bro, like, this is a thing that pisses me off about this whole judicial system. If you take life, you should be given life. Simple as that. I don't care how it's orchestrated. If you were the one that murdered somebody in any situation, I don't give a fuck if you're 8 years old. Like, if you intentionally, knowingly, and had the full-fledged knowledge of knowing that is the most wrong thing in life that you can do, and you proceed with it, you should get life. I think that should be done. I think it's stupid because there are people that have murdered other people and they get like 10 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And like, yeah, like hypothetically it's a decently long time, but you took life away from somebody. Like, why should you have a life when they don't get one? So like, you know, anybody that commits any type of murder, they should be done for. That should be it for them. They should just go and live the rest of their days in jail and in prison, whatever.
That you had a belt and you were going to strangle someone.
Yes,
Damn.
I was going to strangle him first, and then after
He was
did,
a serial killer, 100%.
Okay, and this was Andre.
This was Andre.
Now, did you lure him into the bathroom yesterday?
Into the bathroom, yes, not the stall.
Okay. And how did you accomplish that?
The bathroom?
Yes.
We were late to class. I told them both that we were gonna be late to class. And so we snuck upstairs after the late bell had rung. We got to the bathroom, and I was trying to convince Andre to go into the stall.
No way.
And how were you going to do that?
I told him that I had something to show him.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was his response to that?
His response, he didn't want to do it, so he said no. He's like, why can't Jamie go first? My response then was that he's gonna go next.
Damn.
Now, did Jamie agree? Did Jamie say, I'll come in, I'll look?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what did you say at that point?
I said no, he's gonna go first.
Okay. And any particular reason why?
I wanted to get Andre killed first before I got Jamie.
All right.
Ugh.
Now,
This hurts my
when
stomach.
that did not happen yesterday, what did you end up telling Andre and Jamie?
Michael is taking up a lot of space on the table with his arms and hands. This could be indicative of confidence and feeling in control of the conversation, or at the very least, feeling at an equal level as the detective.
I said, all right, are you gonna guys cooperate tomorrow? They're like, yeah, okay, we'll cooperate tomorrow.
Cooperate, bro. Like,
Michael's word
who the fuck? Who is 14 asking you, will you cooperate? What the fuck? What kind of damn law school are these kids going to?
choice
14
here
years
says a lot
old.
about his relationship with his friends at school. When Andre refuses to go into the stall with
W.
him the day
Andre.
prior, Michael asks his friends if, in his own words, they'll cooperate with him the next day
That's
instead,
crazy.
to which they both agree. The way he speaks to his friends indicates that Michael was likely the authority figure in his friend group, and that his friends regularly felt like they had to obey him. That might explain why he thought he could easily lure them both to a horrific fate. Sadly, Michael was right about Jaime, but clearly underestimated Andre.
Shout out to Andre, man.
Before
Literally made a
this
life-changing
happened,
decision for
Jim,
himself.
What were your intentions going to be if Andre should have shown up?
I would have talked him into coming to the bathroom with me, coming into the stall. Then I would have proceeded to slit his throat and stab him continuously until he died in the neck area.
Yes.
And then I would have left him there
Yes.
and gone back downstairs and talked Jamie into coming upstairs, lured him into the other bathroom, and slit his throat and...
Damn, bro.
Okay. Now,
Like, bro, like that is crazy. He is so calm and so collected, being 14 years old. You were talking about committing a double murder in a school, in a middle school. Oh my god, bro. This hurts my brain to process.
Mike, where did you get this knife from?
I have a knife collection.
Uh-huh.
I've been collecting knives, and as I said, my dad has a store, and so I asked him for some knives.
At
This was before
14.
I was gonna do this.
At
Yes.
14.
And I asked him
That's crazy, man. Everybody lives their life differently. All I'm saying is when I was 14, I had an Xbox.
for some knives. He's like, all right, you can take them, because I wanted to
ridiculous.
not switch with it, but like a knife that can come out
I think
easily.
they call them gravity knives.
Michael had exhibited several warning signs of concerning behavior prior to the murder, most of which detectives won't discover until they speak with more of Michael's schoolmates over the next few days. Students reported that Michael demonstrated an intense interest in all things gore and death. Even the screensaver on his computer at school featured a scary creature covered in blood, which had caught the attention of other classmates. Michael also had a history of teasing and physically assaulting his peers.
Damn.
He'd been reprimanded in the past for mocking and hitting a couple of female classmates.
Damn.
He was also known to poke and chase other kids with a screwdriver that he kept in his backpack.
Let me ask you this.
Bro, like, what kind of damn checks do we got going on at school? Like, I don't know how long ago this was. It says a year ago, but I highly doubt that this is a year ago. Even if it's I don't know. In my head, if it's anything like really like 10 years ago up to now. Think about a school system, even just allowing a kid to bring a screwdriver into school it's crazy. It was even hard for me. Hello, fuck, what the fuck, dude? I hate that. I hate that I unplugged my mic. Sorry. Anyways, it was hard for me to be in school and like a fucking paper airplane and I'd get in trouble, let alone a damn screwdriver. Like, oh my goodness, man. Shout out to technical difficulties.
Is there any
This has
particular
been feed.
reason why you did this to Jamie?
No, there's not.
Did he offend you in any way?
No, he did not.
Did he harm
Crazy.
you in any way?
No, he did not.
Did it to do it, man.
Mike, you know the difference between right and wrong, correct?
Yes, I do.
Do you
Yes,
what you
ask
did
him.
is right or wrong?
No, I don't.
Well, what don't you think?
I think it is neither right, but I don't think it was wrong.
Do you know what you did is wrong?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The fact that Michael is saying that
That
he
makes
doesn't
zero
think what
sense.
he did was right or wrong shows us that he must have come up with his own explanation or justification for what he did.
But that makes no sense because he's telling us that he had no reason.
Had the detective probed
I don't give a fuck if
further,
he's a kid.
we
I'll
may
treat
have
him like an
gotten more
adult.
information about why Michael believes that killing Jaime wasn't necessarily wrong. This could have possibly revealed
Did the government contact you and say there's too many people in this world?
some delusional
The fuck?
thinking.
That makes no sense.
Michael said himself that Jaime didn't do anything to him, so for Michael to believe that what he did wasn't wrong means that he likely has some type of unconventional belief about taking someone else's life.
Is this
It makes zero sense because he followed after that statement. He followed up with, "Do you know what you did was wrong?" Yes, but if you don't believe that what you did was wrong, how do you know that what you did is wrong? Like that. Makes no
first
sense.
time that you have
Dumb
been
kid.
involved in something like this, Michael?
Yes, it is.
That's obvious. I feel the same
Are
way.
you sorry that this happened today?
No, I'm not.
No, of course he's not. Why would he be sorry? He's the one that planned it out.
This was an unprovoked attack on Jamie?
Yes, it was.
Planned. I wouldn't
Sir,
say
everything
unprovoked.
You told me been true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it has.
Have I forced you to give this statement,
No,
sir?
you have not.
Have I treated you gentlemanly?
Yes, you have.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Following his interrogation, Michael was transported to the Juvenile Assessment Center. Michael stood trial 4 years later, pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. At his trial, a particularly startling piece of evidence was brought forth. A notebook of Michael's that contained information about famous serial killers.
Damn.
A list of people he planned to kill, including his older sister, and a mission statement that declared his need to cleanse the planet by murdering people. Needless to say, the jury took no pity on him.
Thank goodness.
On September 24th, 2008, Michael Hernandez was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Jaime
2008. So this was over 10 years ago.
Goff and the attempted first-degree murder of Andre Martin. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 30 years for the attempted murder charge.
I guess maybe I don't understand it a whole lot, but you get life in prison plus without the possibility of parole, but then you add on 30 years. So is that just like a fancy way of just saying like, hey, even though you're in there for life, we're going to give you 30 more years just in case? Because I mean, without the possibility of parole, I don't understand. You give somebody life in prison. So when you say life in prison, that's 999 years or whatever.
8 years later, in an unforeseen turn of events, a Supreme Court ruling made it unlawful to automatically sentence a minor to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
That is absolutely stupid because he committed a murder.
Michael appealed and was retried in 2016. He was again sentenced to life in prison and returned to the Columbia Correctional Institute.
Man tried to find a loophole and got loopholed in his loophole.
Serve the remainder of his sentence.
Fuck you.
However, Michael wouldn't remain in prison very long.
What?
On April 29th, 2021, Michael suddenly collapsed and shortly thereafter was pronounced dead. His cause of death was noted as cardiac dysrhythmia or an irregular heartbeat in connection with morbid obesity. Michael died at the age of 31 after having spent a total of 13 years in prison.
Wow. Well, that's crazy. I mean, it's a lose-lose all the way around, but I mean, at least he did end up serving a bunch of time, before that had happened. But I mean, it's an awful situation, man. 14 years old, go to prison, find a loophole to get out of prison, and go right back in with the same sentence. And that was at 2016. And then he passed away in 21, so that was only like 5 years after. It's crazy, man. It is crazy, just like Amanda. Oh, man. That is crazy. Well, I don't know if this will be into a YouTube video or not. I've been recording for a little while, but I hope you guys enjoy stuff like this. I don't know. This is something kind of different I'm trying. Something I've always been intrigued about, to be able to conversate and kind of watch stuff like this. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, if this turns into a YouTube video, let me know what you think down below. If you'd like to see more of these and recommend me things that you want to watch me react to, I appreciate it. Live on Kick in the description below every day. Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.